10:45 p.m. The idea was to leave at midnight, but I couldn't fall back to sleep. I went to bed at like 7, woke up at 10, couldn't fall back asleep. So I was like, I'm probably gonna be sitting here trying to fall asleep for another hour, and then I'm gonna get another hour of sleep. I might as well just hit the road. So I guess here goes nothing. Usually I don't drive through the night like this, and I'll start at like 3 or 4 a.m. Because that just seems to be what works for me. Like I feel like I get enough sleep. It's not terrible, but technically I have to work tomorrow, which tomorrow is Friday, but I also have to be out of here by 11 a.m. tomorrow. So it wasn't going to work that I was going to be able to work during the day and still be out of here at the time I needed to be out of here. So we're gonna do our best to get back. Like obviously I'm not gonna be back by 9 a.m. to start working. That's just not gonna happen. But I'll still be back, probably able to take a little nap and get some work done probably late into Friday evening, which should be fine. So when I drove down a month ago, the drive really wasn't that terrible, but I did do that leave at 3 or 4 a.m. drive kind of through the day, but get a jump start on it, which really wasn't bad. 95 was pretty empty, but it also, what was it? A Wednesday? This is gonna be on a Friday, so I think it might be a little bit different. We will see how it goes. I'm very nervous because I don't like driving through the night, but I just have to do it. I just have to suck it up and do it. I never really like to eat at this hour. It feels kind of weird to make myself toast at 10:57 at night. But I know that once I start driving, like I'm gonna start not feeling good. So as a precaution, we're gonna make ourselves some toast while I pack up, the contents of the fridge, because I still have some stuff that I don't really want to throw away, like basically a whole bottle of wine and some Caesar dressing. So I'm just gonna put that in a bag. I think it will be fine for the trip. And then I'll throw away all of the stuff that's in the freezer, which is kind of a bummer. Like I have a whole thing of ice cream in here, but there's nothing I can do about that. I thought I was gonna be able to make just one trip and like go to the car with all my stuff and then leave, but I have like 5 bags. So I'm gonna do a double trip. Trip number 1. Okay, it looks like I've got everything. This is my last trip, which means I'm out of here. Okay, so it is currently, I don't know, let's wait for the car to turn on and I'll tell you what time it is. 11:23. So honestly, only half an hour ahead of schedule, and it's going to take me 14 and a half hours to get there. So here goes nothing, I guess. This is always my least favorite part of the drive, where you're like still driving in the city and you're not yet on the freeway, because you're like still having to stop at stoplights. It's 11:30 on a Thursday and there are still so many people on the road. I'm used to getting on the road at like 3 a.m. and it just being completely deserted. So we'll see what the highway is like. Honestly, I'm not expecting it to be totally empty like I'm used to. I just made one of the biggest mistakes that you can make on these long drives, and I checked the map because thinking that I was probably at least halfway through Florida. I've been driving for about 2 hours now, but I was wrong. On the map, it looks like I have barely moved a smidge. I'm nowhere near close to halfway through Florida. I probably have another 3 or 4 hours to go until I reach the Georgia border, and it is currently 1 a.m. I started an audiobook on my drive down and I wasn't really enjoying it. Like it was okay, but it was just getting kind of like repetitive and boring. And I don't think I have that much longer of it, so I might just put that on to try to finish it and kind of get it out of the way, but also still have something to listen to. That's not just music, because that starts to put me to sleep at a certain point. I finished the audiobook, and I don't know if it was just the book that I didn't like, or maybe it was the narrator, because I wasn't really super into how she was doing it, or maybe it was a combination of the two, but overall, definitely wasn't my favorite book. And the narration, it's like an older English woman, was definitely putting me to sleep. So it's 3:10 a.m. right now, still have not hit the Florida-Georgia border, and I am definitely feeling it. I'm stopped in Georgia, right over the Florida border, at just a random gas station. So I'm gonna fill up with gas, go to the bathroom, and then get back on the road. It looks like I have about 9 hours and 45 minutes left, and it is currently 4:30 a.m., which honestly, I feel like I'm making good time. Not too bad. Like, it's a long drive. There's nothing I can do about it. I am getting a little bit hungry, which is hard because not many places are open.
At the stop sign, turn right.
Okay. Is that right?
For 347 miles.
No,
Continue
I don't want to go
straight.
right. I want to go straight. Anyway, I'm getting really hungry, but I always stop and get a McDonald's breakfast sandwich, and they're not open yet, so I have to wait for at least another hour until they open, until I can do that. So just waiting it out, and by then I should be in South Carolina. The Georgia to South Carolina trip really isn't that bad. And I am feeling kind of hopeful at this point, I guess, because I feel like Florida is the worst of it. Because when I was driving down, the trip felt so smooth until I hit Florida, and then everything kind of stalled and it felt like it took forever. And I'm not sure if that's just because it was the end of the drive, or if it's just because that trip in Florida is so long. So I'm hoping that it's the same going back, and that Florida was the worst of it. I have it out of the way, and now I can just like cruise up through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. So that is what I'm hoping. We will see if that is the case. It's becoming really hard for me to keep my eyes open, and I haven't seen any rest stops or service plazas or anything like that. So I think at the next like gas station or fast food restaurant, any of the above, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop. I'm stopped at like a totally random Burger King. Yeah, I think it's a Burger King in Georgia, and I just grabbed like some of my towels, and I'm just gonna put them over the windows and take a quick nap. I don't feel very well rested at all, but I'm gonna get some breakfast from McDonald's and hope that that helps. I am crushed because it looks like this McDonald's doesn't have bacon, egg, and cheese bagels, which is what I get every single time. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Well, McDonald's order when you're ready.
I had a mobile order.
2 hash browns and a large Coke.
Yep.
Alright, go ahead and put on the second window.
Thank you. Since they didn't have the breakfast sandwich that I wanted, I ended up just getting 2 hash browns and a large Coke, which I was going to get anyway. Whenever I have to stop like this and take a nap, I know it's a good thing to do and I need to do it. Like, it's a necessity, but it puts me back so much on time. And really, I just want to get there and get back. I don't want to have to keep delaying things, but it is what it is. It is 6:56. I just crossed the border from Georgia into South Carolina. The sun is starting to come up and I feel a little bit better because I've been able to drink a little bit of my Coke. So hopefully it gets better from here. Usually once the sun is up, I do okay. Like, I'm not as drowsy anymore because it's bright outside. But it has gotten a little bit busy on the roads with morning traffic. You know, just people are starting to wake up and get out for the day. So that part always stinks. I like when it's, you know, the middle of the night and nobody is on the roads and I can just kind of cruise. But we're making the most of it. I had to stop again for another nap because I keep feeling like I'm just gonna fall asleep at the wheel, which is not good. Obviously, we don't want that.
So I stopped again. I'm about to start driving, but this is why I hate driving through the night, because I just feel like I cannot stay awake because I haven't had at least a decent amount of sleep. On the way down, everyone told me that I made a huge mistake not stopping at Buc-ee's for gas and bathroom break, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm passing one in 2 miles, and like I could wait a little longer to get gas, but since there's one, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna try it out and see if it lives up to the hype.
I think there's just way too much going on in here. For me personally, like why? Like this is supposed to be a gas station, right? Why do you need this in a gas station?
I'm getting back on the road, and my first impression of Buc-ee's was definitely that I was overwhelmed. If you're just stopping for gas and a bathroom break, you don't need all that. It's just too much. But the gas was very cheap. So I will give them that. It was under $3, which I haven't seen in a while. I'm gonna downgrade them because of it just being absolutely overwhelming and the amount of stuff, and also people. There were so many people in there, but you know, like people are gonna hate me for this. So like I'd give it a 6. I have made it to North Carolina. It is around 10:15 a.m. and I still have like 5.5 more hours of driving to do. And all I want to do is just take a shower. I want to take a shower so bad. I feel so grimy and gross and nasty. That is going to be the first thing I do when I get back. 5.5 hours is still a long time, but if you think about it the other way, I've been driving for like 10 hours at this point. So 5.5 is nothing. We're almost there. We just have North Carolina and Virginia to go. I haven't had Chick-fil-A in forever, so I decided to stop here for lunch. I think I'm right around Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's 12:22. So not too much longer until we get to Virginia. Every time I go to Chick-fil-A, I get the same thing, which is a medium fry. Oh no, a medium fry, and an 8-count nugget. Sometimes I get the meal, but I was using points, so I can't do it as a meal. And then this time I decided to treat myself and get a chocolate milkshake with no cherry, but the whipped cream is still there. Because I had my large Coke from McDonald's this morning, but usually I'll get a Coke or a lemonade, but I was feeling like treating myself. It's my lucky day. They gave me an extra nugget. There's 9 in there. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 nuggets. Getting back on the road again. It's almost 1 o'clock now. This is the time I should have been getting back if everything had gone smoothly and I didn't have to stop a bunch of times. But anyway, it says I'm gonna get back at 5 o'clock, so 4 more hours, which is like, I feel like it was forever ago that I said 4.5 hours because I keep stopping. It says that I have 246 miles to go, and my distance to empty is 245 miles, which is such a bummer because I'm gonna have to stop one more time before I get back to get gas. It's getting a little bit depressing because the further north I drive, the less and less green things get and the more brown everything is. Like obviously in Florida, everything was like colorful and green and lush, and then it was kind of the same way in Georgia. South Carolina, it was like peak spring, everything is green and everything's starting to bloom. It was beautiful. North Carolina, it was like very beginning of spring, and now that I'm in Virginia, everything is pretty much still brown. Like a couple trees are starting to get leaves, but it's still pretty desolate. I felt like I was making some really good progress, but now we've hit a bit of a traffic patch. I'm so close to being back. 39 minutes it says. It's currently 4:30, but if the traffic wasn't so bad, it would definitely be like 20 minutes because prime rush hour time, it's like stop and go traffic. People keep switching lanes, which always makes it so much worse, but 39 minutes. I think I've been driving for like 15 hours at this point. I'm just ready. I'm over it. I'm ready to be done. I think that was probably the best shower I have ever taken.
My face is breaking out like crazy now though, so I think I'm just gonna do my skincare and go straight to bed. It's like 6:30, but I drove for 15 hours, so. I can also barely form a cohesive thought after that because my brain is just like absolute mush at this point.